Hello, class. This is Dr. Curry. I know you may be surprised to see me, but I'm here to share some information with you on how we're going to proceed with this class because of the school closure. Now, we have been studying ecology in class, and we completed that unit on ecology. So now we're going to move to climate, where we will be interacting using Google Classroom. I have already invited every student in all of my classes to join me in the Google Classroom setting. What we will do is we will continue our learning the way we have prior to the school closure. We will be studying climate, which is the next unit we were scheduled to begin on today. So what I will do, class, is I will upload videos of my mini lectures so that you can see them and take notes. Also, I have included the PowerPoints in the folders that you can see when you enter the Google Classroom. The first one is climate and the second one is atmosphere. We will do climate first, which will probably take us about a week. So when you access the PowerPoint, you will have the same information that I will be going over here shortly in lesson one. Now, here's the thing. As we go through lesson one, you need to take notes. And I will show you what you need to write into your notebook as I go through the lecture. But if you will look in the folder, you will also see a study guide. And that study guide is basically all of the information that is in the PowerPoint. So you can also, if you have the ability to print the study guide out. And as you go through the PowerPoint, just fill it in and you will have all of the information. Now, if you are unable to print, my suggestion is that you write out some of the questions or all of the questions on the study guide and fill them in as you view the lesson. If that is too much work for you, then you take the notes as I go through the lesson, or if you don't watch this video, you can take notes off of the PowerPoint. But either way, I expect you to get notes. Now, we will have assignments. I have also, in that climate folder, uploaded the book chapter on climate. We will be reading that chapter along with the mini lectures, getting information out. I will be posting things such as the vocabulary and answering the questions at the end of the chapter. I will also be including some work assignments that you will see, and I will write and tell you which ones that you need to do and on what days. Now, some may say, how am I going to get all this work to you, Dr. Curry? What I expect you to do is to keep up by recording all of the work that I give you, placing it in your notebook so that when you come back to school, you will be able to give me that work and I can give you a grade. Once we get back to school, we will review all of the things that we have gone over in the Google Classroom. And after we have thoroughly reviewed them, then I will give you some type of an assessment. Now, I have already sent out an email, as I have said earlier, to every student considering the Google Classroom. Now, some people may be thinking, well, Dr. Curry, I don't have access to a computer, and I'm just looking at this on the phone, and it will be very difficult for me to do it, all these lessons with my phone. If you don't have internet access at home, or you don't have a computer or access to a computer, I need you to email me back so that I know, so that I can work out a way to get you some paper copies of the lessons that we're going to be reviewing in the next week. So I say again, I hope you're with me. Stay with me. We're going to all get there together. Although I'm not with you physically, I plan to continue to do the things that I love, and that is to teach earth science and bring joy not only to you, but to me. Because my joy is in seeing that you are learning these life lessons and this information is going to make you very knowledgeable young adults. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do is go over lesson one. So if you are ready to go over lesson one, That little intro was about 6 minutes. I will upload a video separate from this lesson. And when I do that, all you have to do is look at that video and then move to this video on the mini lecture. So we're going to begin. Let me back up. Let me get on this side. Let me back up. Okay. All right. Our focus question for this lesson is, what factors determine the climate of an area? What factors determine the climate of an area? So we're going to begin, as I always do, with some introduction. We need to have some basic terminology that we need to record in our notebooks as we begin this unit on climate. So as I often say, you need to write down what is climatology and what is climate. Please record in your notes that climate is the study of Earth's climate and the factors that affect it. That will be on your assessment at some time. What is climate? Climate is the long-term weather patterns of an area. The long-term weather patterns of an area. Put that in your notes. There are 4 things that affect climate. These things are temp, precipitation, wind, and seasonality. So get that in your note. This first slide is very important because this information will be on your test eventually. What is climatology? What is climate? And what are the main factors, 4 main factors that climate describes about an area? Okay. Next. Okay. What are the factors that affect climate? Those factors are latitude. Now, as you look at this slide, you're going to see some things here. You're going to see the zones that we have here. We have climate zones. We have the polar region, which we all know is cold. We have the temperate region, which has some seasons normally. Then we have the tropical region, where it is always warm. And then it reverses. You have tropical on the south side, along with temperate and polar. So as you can see, we have 3 zones on each side of the equator. Now, if you're watching this video, this is assignment 1. I want you to draw a picture of this latitude 1, and I want you to label that. You can even color it if you have the ability to do that. I want you to label it so that you know for certain, without a doubt, that the polar region is cold, the temperate region is here, and the tropical region is always warm. That's the Bahamas. That's Jamaica. These areas where it never gets cold because they are in a tropical zone near the equator. So please do that. That is the first assignment that I've given you. So once you have drawn that and labeled it, put that in your notebook. Okay? All right. Okay, there are some factors that affect climate. Those factors are air masses. Air masses. Now, a tropical island in the Atlantic Ocean has a maritime tropical climate that is warm and humid because its climate is controlled by empty air masses. Okay, empty air masses. Did I skip one? Let me go back. No, I didn't. Okay, so get this down, empty air masses. Now, we're going to be looking at each one of these air masses individually so that you will have an opportunity to write down and understand what these mean. Okay, but a tropical climate is always warm and humid. That was going to be on your assessment or test later on. Tropical climate is always warm and humid. Okay, next. Okay, ocean currents. This is very important. Ocean currents determine the climate. Write these notes. On the East Coast, we have warm currents. They come from the Gulf Stream, and it causes our climate to be humid subtropical. Very important. Put that in your notes. That will be on the test. Our climate is humid. Our climate is humid, subtropical here on the East Coast where we live. Now, on the West Coast, they have cold currents. We have warm on the East Coast. They have cold currents on the West Coast. And because those currents are cold, they have what we call a Mediterranean climate. Okay? In a Mediterranean climate, it is cool and dry. Okay? Cool and dry in a Mediterranean climate, warm currents in a humid subtropical climate. Now, both of these, you need to put these in your notes and keep those separate in your mind because they are very important to your knowledge about the kind of climates we have here. So put that in your notes. Okay, here is a picture of some of these currents. And you see, we're going to get more into this as we get into our unit on oceanography. Right now, we're not going to look at all of these currents in detail, but as you can see on this slide, there are lots of currents that are circulating throughout the world, and those currents do have an effect on climate. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, for this one, I want you to record points B and C in your notes. A is good information because it tells us that oceans take longer than continents to cool down or warm up. But what I want you to remember for testing purposes is that the oceans take longer to cool down after the summer. Okay? So on point B, oceans act as heaters in the winter. Oceans act as air conditioners in the summer. Those are two things that will be on the test that I am asking you to put in your notes and be aware of. Now, let me say this before we go any further. There may be some things on your study guide that's on this PowerPoint that I'm not emphasizing. If you have not seen this video, and if you've seen this video, just fill in the information I'm telling you that's most important. Leave out those things that you don't have to record. Okay? All right, next. All right, important. We need to talk about the climate in our area. Okay? We live here. Boone is 3,000 feet above sea level, so it is almost always 10 degrees cooler than Winston-Salem. A mountaintop is cooler because it is farther from the conduction of heat from Earth's surface. Now, for purposes of testing, you just need to know that Boone is so much higher above sea level that there are different temps because of that. And you can notice that if you're in Winston-Salem and you're moving toward Boone, you can actually feel the temp change. All right. Now, that's all for lesson 1. Not a whole lot. Lesson 1 was just an introduction. But what I want you to know, this is the beginning of our new means of communication until you come back to school. Now, this is the first video I've made. It's about 14 minutes long. It includes my talking, and it also includes my reviewing the lesson. Remember, you have an assignment. You're going to go to that slide on Latitude, which is built into the folder. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw that and you're going to label it and bring it back to me at a later time. I will put another lesson in soon. Take care, be safe, and I look forward to our continuing our online learning. See you later.